Adversaries come in many forms, but you will be victorious when you realize that worship is warfare.
Adversaries are necessary because without them, you never really discover your purpose.
We've accepted what somebody told us we were in our past. So our past is sabotaging our ability to hear instruction.
We are not much unlike a battery. The negative is the thing that's needed to produce the power.
I empowered you to overcome everything you've overcome up to this present moment. I fixed you for what's going to happen after this. You were in the mind of God long before you were ever born.
You are not alone in your battle. God has your back because worship is warfare. Put these 4 messages in your arsenal today on CD or DVD. Equip yourself by visiting our website or by calling 1-800-591-8480.
It's now easier than ever to stay connected with David G. Evans and the Bethany Baptist Church family. Follow the ministry and rejoice in all that God is doing by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. On Facebook, you'll be up to date on the latest happenings. You can watch our Sunday services on Facebook Live, 8 and 11 a.m. Eastern.
Here comes the power. Hallelujah.
Words of wisdom and encouragement can be found on Twitter, and you'll get up to the minute sermon points as they happen in our weekly worship services. Follow us on Instagram and be blessed by the inspirational and special moments that are highlighted each week, and meet the people who are the heart of our ministry. And if it's video you want, subscribe to the Bethany Baptist Church channel on YouTube. See the celebrations, the special events, and the many, many people who are helping to transform lives one at a time. Stay connected with David G. Evans on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and become a member of our broadcast family today.
What if you could make one decision to unleash everything great in your life? Would you do it? Would you say yes? Aren't you tired of your relationships, your health, and so much more suffering because you lack the truth you need to change? The life you desire is within your reach. You can achieve all the success, happiness, and prosperity you deserve by simply learning the secrets that lead to real personal transformation. Change is hard, but not impossible. You just have to make one radical decision to get real. And there's no better authority on the real steps to change than David G. Evans.
Some men trust in chariots. Some men trust in horses. But we will trust in the Lord.
David G. Evans is leading the charge to bring you the power to change your life. He is committed to the mission of helping you transform and become a person of power, and it starts with his all-new system to change your situation. At the centerpiece of this life-altering collection is David Evans' groundbreaking training course. From ridiculous to radical to real, this means war. In this series, you will discover the steps to change. This series includes 2 powerful messages, each on winning the battle in your mind and cultivating a language of faith. That's 4 messages, 4 power-filled hours of material. If you want a better marriage, this series has the answers. If you want to achieve financial independence God's way, the secrets in this series will empower you to make it happen. If you want a life of power, anointing, and influence, this series will show you how to get it, and there's more. You're looking for serious, immediate results. So Bishop Evans will also include one of his best-selling messages called Weapon of Warfare. This classic teaching will build you up to start fighting in the spirit for what you deserve. This powerhouse collection, from ridiculous to radical to real, and Weapon of Warfare, will give you all the biblical strategies you need to change anything in your life. This collection will ship to you immediately with your gift today to David G. Evans Ministries. This ministry is revolutionizing the kingdom by empowering believers. Souls are being saved daily, and we need your help to grow this impact in a real way. Call now and sow your seed of just $35 for your transformation to help people around the world. Your $35 love gift goes straight to the front lines of ministry, providing help to those that need it most. Call now. Make the decision to get the power you need to change your life forever.
Well, praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to OnPointe, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning on any smart device at David G. Evans 1 worldwide. Today, we have a lot of subjects to talk about as we talk about culture and religion, politics and sports. And we see many things are happening this week. COVID relief bill was passed, and there's going to be a limit to who can receive one of the checks. Individuals at $80,000 and couples at $160,000. Supreme Court paves the way for the release of former President Trump's tax return, and there's a water crisis in Mississippi. They've been without water for weeks now due to winter storms. Georgia Republicans are increasing their efforts to suppress the vote, and the House is going to pass voting rights bill. House has passed it. It's going to the Senate now for approval. In New Jersey, Governor Murphy signs legal weed into law. Mistake. GOP donor gave $2.5 million for a voter fraud investigation. Now he wants his money back since there was no fraud. And Kentucky policeman officer terminated for providing BLM protesters with information. Looking forward to, the president is telling us that by May he believes that most adults, there'll be enough vaccine for all adults by end of May, which is good news. And Florida officials are calling for the FBI to investigate their governor, Ron DeSantis, for linking vaccines to donations. Kind of ironic that certain wealthy individuals that lived in Florida got their vaccinations in January, along with the president and the first family. I don't believe that's a coincidence.
Not at all.
Of course, joining us today is Reverend Nicholas Smith, our world-famous co-host. You can give us a call, talk to us this morning, toll-free, 866-743-8267. That's 866-743-8267. That's 866-74-EVANS. You can give us a call this morning. We love to talk to you about things that are on your heart and on your mind. How you doing this morning, man?
We here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Our voices are still trying to
man,
wake
come
up.
on,
It
come
sounds
on,
like.
come on. I don't, I got this Barry White thing working this morning. I don't know what this is.
Like, come on, bro, wake up, get it together.
I certainly woke up early enough for my voice to be awake, but I guess my voice said I'm not waking up yet. So we'll just have to use the Resonant Star Advantage this morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. I am still, and perhaps you can bring another perspective to my thinking, Pastor Nick. I'm still wondering what the strategy was for the Republicans to block a bill that's going to, the number one, is favorable to most Americans. Number two, going to help their people, the folk that are part of their base, and how they justify standing in the way of it when the time comes to ask for a vote. Of the same people you were ready to deny that may need food, may need clothing for their kids, may need help with rent, may need, and certainly we're under no misconception, $1,400 is not going to bail somebody out who's been struggling since February.
Absolutely. Yep.
But $1,400 when you need it is a lot of money. And sometimes when you don't need it, there's a lot of money.
Help you out.
But, that's help. And I believe it was a political mistake for them to oppose this thing simply because it wasn't their idea, and to have the ambiguity of many components of the bill are similar to the bill that they approved a year or so ago.
Yeah, or actually, I think the November, December.
It makes no
It was
sense.
literally a couple of months
So
ago.
literally it's because we don't want you to get credit for this.
Yes.
Because I think what happened is President Biden gets credit for doing something as huge as Roosevelt did back in the day when he had to make his big move to help America, and when people were against that also, which really tells me that if there was ever an indication to me, and I've always articulated my ambiguity as it relates to the Republican Party. As a business person, their programs have always been, their policies have always been an advantage to me.
Yep.
but they absolutely disadvantage the people that I serve.
Yeah.
So there's no way I could be a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how. I don't see how they can avoid the fact that this bill puts the American worker first.
Yep.
For the first time not for the first time in America, but really put it in front of the Republicans where they had a chance to say, this is something we need to do together.
Yep.
I think they would have scored more points with that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think not one of them voted for it. I think one Democrat didn't vote for it, I think.
It's going to be suicide politically
Yeah.
because the struggle isn't over.
Mm-mm. We're going to be in this for a minute.
So
Unfortunately.
it just, maybe you can help me. There's this this altered state, this alternate reality they seem to be functioning in.
Yeah. Because it's like, their big thing, I was talking to one conservative, well, who's going to pay for it? I'm like, well, the same people that paid for Trump tax cuts. Y'all was fine with that.
Who's going to pay for it?
Yeah, that's their concern. Who's going to pay for it?
Well, the problem is that when they approved their over $1 trillion tax break for 600 individuals in the nation, those 600 are not going to have to pay for it. The rest of the nation
Absolutely. We're stuck with the bill.
is. So why are they suddenly concerned about being fiscally conservative?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And their hope was eventually, this is the crazy thing, their hope is, well, they'll cut taxes and then they'll cut spending to balance the budget out. I'm like, when have they cut spending? Whenever they've done a tax cut, you always see they do tax cuts, keep spending the same. Or they cut entitlements, which is a small percentage.
Well, they cut service, but it's such a sham.
Yeah.
If you spend $1.5 trillion giving tax breaks, and you come back and say, okay, we're gonna cut food stamps,
Right.
The allotment to food stamps, and that amounts to about $25 million.
Yeah. You can cut.
You haven't cut anything. It's a gesture
Yeah.
to make people think they're being conservative when actuality, why do you have to hurt services to people in order to help other people?
Yep.
And you really don't. Because what's amazing to me, they didn't have the money for the tax cuts, but suddenly they had it.
Yep.
And it was well over $1 trillion. I understood that during the last administration, they spent almost $4 trillion on stuff.
Yep.
But they had no money to help people. Why don't most working people that support that party see that reality?
Yeah. Well, they're more concerned. There are two things, I think. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
I think they're caught up in the hope that one day, because they live in America, that could be them. The American dream is for everybody. Own the business, have the opportunity to be wealthy. Not considering that capitalism requires working class and lower class people.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to be a millionaire
No.
in this country.
No.
And then their willingness to uphold their view of America is more important than the economics part.
But what's amazing
Until
is,
it's somebody else in office.
yeah, the reality is this. You can't have a country where everybody owns a business because you need workers. Laborers are a function of capitalism.
Absolutely.
Just like, it shouldn't be poverty. It's a function of capitalism.
Yep.
So when people make these statements to me and I look at them, I'm saying, like, have you really noticed that there's not really a lot of concern for small business among Republicans? Why? Because they believe small businesses are like weeds. One go down, another one pops up.
Yeah.
So it's why, in their mind, small business is not who we're thinking of.
Right. Yep.
They're not thinking mom and pop and, the cousin working at night and the aunt working during the day on the register. They're not thinking that.
Yeah.
They're thinking somebody who's doing, $10 billion a year with 500 employees.
Right. Yep.
And in most people's minds, that ain't a small business.
Because Ruth Chris to me ain't no small business.
Nah,
I'm sorry. It's
look, that's not a small
it's
business.
not a small business.
It's small when you compare it to GMs and all the
that
others.
part, yeah.
But then, the other part of what the Republicans are not talking about is the part of the relief bill that's not helping the working people.
Yeah.
They're not talking about the part that's helping the businesses and the corporations.
Absolutely.
And they're not bringing that up at all.
Right. Right. And that's my thing. Well, if we give the tax breaks to the wealthy people and the job creators, they'll create more jobs.
They didn't.
When they've laid people off, They got bonuses.
Wholesale.
Yeah, wholesale. Just
They lay folk off wholesale. Shut down buildings. I think Walmart closed, what, 600? Sam's Clubs, like that?
Yep.
After they got the money?
got the money. Shut stuff down. Their executives got their bonuses. That's like the bailout in 2008.
Why
Same
is that
thing.
only an issue when certain people are in party?
Yep. That's the thing.
When people are in power,
Yeah.
when certain people are in power, that's a problem. When they're not, because I've got some well-to-do Republican associates. I found out
Yeah.
I had to reclassify them during the last 4 years.
Yes.
Because they were acting friendly, but
Yeah.
I would get to board meetings, and like I told you before, I had to literally say one time, "I'm sitting here, and don't act like I'm not."
Yeah.
Literally, I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
Because they were just so bold, and I think people overcalculate. Every board I've ever been on, people have overcalculated my my need to be on that board. I've never accepted a board function that I did not believe wouldn't help the people I serve at some point.
Yeah.
So that's why I take board positions, not because I need something else to do,
Right.
but just because I think, okay, maybe we can get some jobs here, there's some things that'll happen. So I think sometimes people calculate that, he really needs to be on this board, so we can say some things, and he's not going to respond.
Yeah.
They don't know. I don't care about the board seat.
No. Right. Yeah, you care about the outcomes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they start talking. I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, do you realize I'm in the room?
Yeah.
And then you've got to quietly let them know that you're not going to sell your integrity just to have a seat on the board.
Right.
And you're not going to communicate like I'm not sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
But the transition that I saw in people that served me when I was chair of a board.
Yeah.
Now, this is the thing. I never saw this when I was the chairman of the board.
Mhm.
But after the political landscape shifted, all of a sudden, here comes all this
Yeah. Boldness.
sarcasm, venom
Yep.
that I didn't see when I was the chair and they were just board members.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, and to me, those relationships have been permanently changed because my
Absolutely.
perception of them has changed.
Yeah. And it's no going back down to the
Oh no! Don't get real nice now.
No.
No.
It's too late. You got somebody in office that was saying stuff that you really wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
When he started saying it, you
Yeah.
start feeling comfortable.
Yep.
But like you said years ago, he's going to eventually leave office.
They
And
didn't-
what are you going to do?
They didn't act like that was going to happen, and maybe that's why there were some that were saying that he should be president until he passed away.
Mm-hmm. Which is so anti-American too.
But these are the people that are believing this stuff are supposed to be constitutionalists.
Yeah.
They believe in American democracy. They believe in the great experiment. So how all of a sudden do you want a dictator in office?
Can I be a little brass?
Go ahead.
They believe in being white.
Okay.
That's really what it is.
You think that's it?
It's not all white people, but it's just there's a certain group
Okay.
that their whiteness and their view of America and the changing landscape of
Okay.
a black president.
Okay.
You see more minorities. You
Yeah.
see more. They know that eventually in a few years, they're going to be the minority.
Yeah.
And people of color are going to be the majority, all different, like Spanish and
Okay.
black and everything. And it's scaring the mess out of them.
Yeah. I saw. There's an additional way to look at it too. When I come from the Christian point of view, and I've been talking to some Christians who came out during, as when I say came out, heart-wise,
Yeah.
came out during the last 4 years, and they were talking about how, especially the prophetic people,
Yeah.
were talking about how God wanted the election to turn out differently than it did.
Mhm.
And so I brought up the simple equation. I think I mentioned it to you too. I'm like, okay, let's say, for instance, we understand God puts people in office, which means he puts people out of office. And let's say, for instance, we look at the other side of the equation. And this is just to my prophetic pastoral friends who were predicting and still trying to say, up until like a couple weeks ago, there was going to be another inauguration and all this other stuff. So I said, let's take a look at it. So you're saying that everything that happened negatively made sure that President Trump did not make it. I said, let's take a look at the things that were done to suppress, deny the vote. Could it be that everything that was done to try to put him in office didn't work, and that meant God's hand was on Biden for this
Right.
situation?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yep.
But they're not looking at it that way. It's only that, if God's hand was on it, then I believe President Trump would be in office.
Yep.
But you can't say he'd be in there. God would have control if he got elected.
Right.
But then kind of abdicate that control.
Yeah, the devil got in it after it was over.
I saw Jim Baker the other day, who has been just radically stupid the last 4 years, and I say that because I know him, and I haven't seen him face to face in a long time, but I know him.
Yeah.
And now they're not taking responsibility for the division.
Oh, not at all.
It's Satan now.
It's Satan now, yeah.
But I said to myself, watching, I said, if it was Satan now, then it was Satan using you then. So let's be balanced about it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it was, this is what we're doing, and now it didn't work. The devil tried to divide the country. Come on, man.
Or the civil war that was going to break out because God was going to judge the nation because Trump wasn't in office.
Guys need to get a set. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
America is not the promised land of God. The Constitution is not the Bible.
That's right.
And and people are trying to uphold Christianity through legal and moral reasons without changing the person's heart.
Right.
I'm telling you, they remind me of The Handmaid's Tales. Like, you got this moral thing in public.
That was so twisted, wasn't it?
It was, but behind the scenes, you got this nefarious.
Yeah, just twisted.
But it's okay for y'all. But it's not okay. But it's all about power and money and all that stuff.
At the end of the day,
yep.
I think the facade. It's like the moral majority, and their secret agenda was segregation.
Yep.
But they knew that wouldn't sell, so they made abortion the point of the platform.
Yep.
Because they thought people could rally around that, when segregation it actually was a racist platform.
Yeah, yep. And the war on drugs.
Yeah.
Which we all knew.
Yeah.
A few years ago, somebody admitted
it wasn't a war.
It was about getting these black folk locked up. And then part of Reagan's big deal was he got big on that because it was the whole Just Say No campaign.
Yeah.
And the crack thing.
Yeah.
And they used that racial element to gain so many voters.
Because there's fear there.
There's fear there.
Yeah.
Because in our community, it's a bad thing, but in their community, they need rehab.
Well, but I think that the same trepidation we have in our own communities, we should not be surprised that people outside those communities have the fear of us. I mean, who sleeps with their doors wide open at night in many of our neighborhoods? Nobody.
Nobody. Yeah. And I agree, there's stuff needs to change. I think it's how they were doing it.
Yeah.
They were using the, again, like the welfare mom.
Yep.
Again, it goes back to the narrative.
The psychology of it is what they were using.
We're animals, but the opioid crisis is they need therapy.
They need therapy, yeah.
They're just hurt.
Yeah.
But why can't these people get the same thing? Maybe they're doing drugs because fatherless homes, the same stuff.
And I think along with that, the biggest BS that I saw in the last few years was that people were committing crimes because they were privileged. And you shouldn't hold them accountable because they were privileged their whole life and didn't know any better. So money makes you go so crazy that you can break the law. Absolutely. That was actually a defense.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, it was. Versus, this person's impoverished and they stole some milk for their child because their child was hungry and they couldn't afford it. That's considered a horrible thing. I'm not saying stealing is right.
Maybe money doesn't hide the fact that you got a problem.
Yeah.
And maybe money helps you keep it undercover for a while, but after a while, it's just like, I know a couple ball players that from the time they were in junior high, their coaches were covering for the things they were doing.
Yep.
And I always hoped that once they got to be in college or got to pros, they would have a revelation and say, you know what, I've been covered all this time.
Yeah.
They continue to behave in pubescent ways, even though they're in college, and some in pros.
Yep.
And I know some of these guys. And it's like, exactly when do you grow up? Money doesn't make you grow up.
Yeah.
Advantage doesn't make you grow up. It just doesn't happen. There's such a twist now.
Yeah. You're right. Anytime like the NBA's back playing now, and last year one guy snuck out the bubble just to go get some wings, and they wouldn't let him back in, or
I don't
they made
blame
sit
him.
out. This time they had to have a couple guys sit out because they just wanted to go to the club or a strip club.
They just had to go.
They just had to go.
They can never go another time.
After the off season, go to off season. You making money, but when you're used to,
But here's the thing. What mechanism in your head says to you, I'm willing to risk my life to go get some chicken wings?
right.
Worse than that, then I'm willing to take the chance of bringing it back and infecting my team
Yep.
just because I wanted a pizza.
Yeah.
I just had to have a beer. I just had to have one. So I'm going to go down to the bar and have these drinks and hang out with people that are not in the bubble.
Yep.
And just by chance, I'll sneak back in and nobody will know.
Yep. And caught him right there.
Come on, man.
But it's true. But Americans, our selfishness drives our decisions. Like you see New Zealand, all those places, they're back to mostly no masks.
They're in stadiums.
Yeah. And I think one city in New Zealand, 2 people tested positive. They shut everything down for like a month to get everything balanced back out again. And
they're back doing their thing again.
back to doing their thing.
I think that this thing that's happening in Alabama and Texas and Idaho, I think we're about to see some of our progress be reversed.
Absolutely.
Because COVID does not know anything about state lines.
Yep.
I mean, it was proven to us the New Jersey connection.
Yep.
Northern Jersey was a hot spot because a lot of people from New Jersey work in New York.
Yep.
They were coming home, and and of course New York, especially New Rochelle at one point, where we have a church or two, was a hot spot in the nation. So I think this, whatever progress we're making, I think they're about to mess it up.
Yeah.
And I think the president's going to have to reassess his goals based on the fact that you've got 6 or 7 states now that decided we're just not doing this anymore.
Yeah, he's I think it was the other day where he said they're going to have enough vaccines by the beginning of May now. But again, it depends on most people are going to take them. But here's my thing. Y'all said, I'm not going to take that vaccine. I'm American free. But the politicians that are encouraging you to live in this foolishness, they got their vaccines already.
Got them in January.
Like, come on, y'all.
So, Cruz and those guys are saying, you got a right to do. Here's the thing. Why don't you express your right to free speech when other fellow human beings are being mistreated?
Yep.
But you choose to express your right when you don't want to take a vaccine. Just because of what?
Right. Yeah.
You don't want to help rid us of this problem. You have maybe you have no business that's in jeopardy. Maybe you have no job to go to anyway. Maybe you just don't know how to prioritize when, as the gambler says, when to hold them and when to fold them.
Yeah.
You just don't know when to make the right move.
Yeah. And there's some crazy preachers out there saying we're the sons of God.
Man.
We got power, and if we die from COVID, it's God's will.
I'm officially saying that's the dumbest nonsense I ever heard in my life.
World. We're not going to be scared because God's got us. Like, no.
They're stupid.
They are stupid.
I'm saying it. It's in my group of contemporaries. They're stupid.
They are.
Send me no more letters talking about I need more faith.
Right.
When did godly wisdom become a lack of faith?
Yep.
When? Only in this environment. Because it's not what I agree with. So suddenly, biblical wisdom is not even faith.
Yep. Even Jesus got out of Dodge when they wanted to stone him.
Man, come on.
It wasn't his time.
If our job as shepherds is to protect the flock,
Yep.
you don't protect them by exposing them to an invisible wolf.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you.
All right, let's go to Keefe. Good morning. Keefe, how you doing, man?
Hi, how are you, Bishop? Good morning.
Doing
morning,
good.
Pastor Nick.
Morning.
Thanks for calling On Point. What's your comment today?
Well, the subject that you're talking about, President, the mask restrictions and stuff like that, and everything else, it kind of just unsettling, because when I heard that the Texas and Mississippi were lifting their
Idaho.
and Idaho were lifting their mask restrictions.
Or was it Iowa?
That was Iowa.
Iowa.
Sorry, Iowa.
Iowa, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what. It kind of reset the didn't. how can I put it, unsettled me right there, because I think in their terms of saying lifting of mass restrictions, I think those governors have gone off the deep end, or as
I agree with you.
When I say,
I agree with you.
yes, and
It's almost like they don't have families of their own.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, be for real. That we're in this still in this pandemic, but 3 out of 50 states want to lift mass restrictions. I mean, come on. I mean, their heads were not on straight when they doing it.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
So true. I mean, I was like, really? I mean, you are really risking your citizens' lives to risk lifting mass restrictions.
And they're saying now, Kiefe, that 30%, did you know that 30% of the new diagnoses are the variants?
Yep.
I did hear about that.
So that means the variants are spreading across the country? So you don't need to lift restrictions, you need to keep them in place? But because we insist on going to spring break, Florida's going to have another outbreak. Do you understand what I'm telling you? And it'll be at least 30% variant again?
Yeah.
It's just stupid. I don't know if we've lost our heart as human beings.
Right.
And when I say lost our heart, so much that we don't care enough about each other.
Yeah.
You know,
No, we don't.
it's not enough for me to exercise my right, and I know I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah, and the one thing I have to say on that, Bishop, is the one thing, because I follow the news myself, whether it's online or watching TV, and I'm saying some of the stuff that I've heard so far is kind of out of control, because if the government is saying, okay, still wear your mask after you get the vaccine,
Wear your mask.
The one shot, 2 shot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, wear your mask.
And exactly. But you, as the governor of these states, are going to say, oh, we're going to lift mask restrictions. I think you ought to get your head examined. And I'm talking about the governors here. Get your head examined and rethink what you just did.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Come on.
And maybe you can help me. Maybe one of our callers can. Maybe Pastor Nick knows the answer right off the top of his head.
What's that?
If a governor lifts restrictions, comes on national TV, says I'm going to open up everything up, you can take your mask off, back to business as usual. If a governor does that and people die, is he criminally responsible for the people that die?
In my mind, yes, but not legally, no. They won't be.
So is that why they're making the decision? But then that shows a lack of humanity and lack of caring for the people that you govern.
Absolutely.
But you're saying they can legislate something that will cause the death of people and not be responsible,
Because they're not responsible for people's choices.
even if they tell them what to
They
do.
tell them what to do, yes, they're there. Because it's hard to pinpoint where the person got it from and all that stuff. So
What kind of people do we have in leadership that don't care about the people that they serve?
they're claiming they care.
what?
That's why we're letting them just go and they want to go do stuff. And,
Until their own families laid up in the hospital in intensive care.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's exactly what I'm saying. Because, I and I don't know if I had told you guys, I was watching most of Governor Murphy's broadcast last year on when he does the COVID-19 update and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I could say, I saw some of the comments about Governor Murphy that say, he should do this, he should do that, he should not run for governor no more this year, I believe, or next year. And then I stopped watching it, because some of the things that Governor Murphy really, sometimes says, okay, you're supposed to, okay, we're all wearing our masks, but some people are criticizing one day last year, if I remember correctly, of not wearing a mask when he was doing outside dining. But now I see these other governors lifting their mask restrictions here.
It's silly. Every Keith, I gotta tell you this. I'll tell you this and I'll let you go. Every time there's a little daylight, they decide that means it's time to bring people back together en masse.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll let you go, man. Talk to you soon here.
All right, you should.
We got Danny coming up, 1-866-743-8267. That's 866-743-8267. I've been riding on my way home from work, and I'm paying close attention to restaurant parking lots, bar parking lots. We used to call them clubs. Bar parking lots. And Pastor Nick, if those number of cars represent 50%,
yeah, only like 50%.
my head's on backwards right now.
Yeah. look like 50% to me.
Doc, not the whole parking lot filled up sides and front, up to the road, up to the highway?
Yep.
And you tell me that's 50% capacity?
The gyms.
Ridiculous. So it means in about 3 weeks,
Probably going to see another spike.
we're going to have another problem.
Yeah. They keep saying, well, cases are on decline, but to me, you can't take a month and a half of decline to be your clue that it's going down. You need sustained.
And decide, let's open things back up again. It's almost like they think they can control the virus because they've had a little success. And one of the things I learned in banking, when they start using percentages, you have to use a balanced look. Because a 3%, here's my problem. You say there's a 3% decline in deaths. Okay. So if you had 100 people dying, you only got 97 people dying. 97 people are alive. When did those 3 become less valuable?
Yep, absolutely.
And do they only have value if it hits your house?
That's the thing.
Because I remember when former Governor Christie got sick, his whole tone, everything changed.
Yep.
But why does it have to happen to you for it to be important?
Absolutely. It's no empathy, no sympathy at all.
I'm amazed. Let's go to Danny. Hey, Dan, how you doing, man?
Hey,
Good
Danny.
morning, Bishop. Good morning, Pastor Dick. Good morning, staff. How y'all doing today?
What's happening down there in Florida, man? You got a crazy governor, man.
I've been telling you that all the time, Bishop.
It just gets worse, man. You guys can't be making this stuff up. This guy's out of control.
Totally out of control. And here's the scenario. And when you look at it real close, and they're getting on Governor Cuomo in New York about figures. Okay, but
more ways than one.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. As far as the pandemic, it started in Florida to begin with.
Okay.
Okay. When you go back to the Super Bowl, not this past Super Bowl. You before I get to that one, let's go to the previous Super Bowl.
Okay.
Okay. When they knew that we had a pandemic.
I remember. All those people came together. All those people went home, and all of a sudden we had a problem across the country.
Right. They went home, and then you had it all over the country.
Yep.
And they never acknowledged it. Okay. Now we come back to this past Super Bowl. Who was there with no mask? High five, no social distance.
Oh,
the governor.
The governor. Oh, yeah.
Governor was there.
He was there. He was there in the middle of it.
So he probably got vaccinated last
Oh,
January.
please, he probably did. Yeah, absolutely.
So he's out there talking trash, but not telling anybody he got vaccinated.
Right. And at that particular time, he was still trying to keep his office, which was the assistant to the assistant of the president, the vice president. And we don't know what happened in that particular position. He's trying to find some type of a job, and what they're trying to do is provoke him to run for president at this time. So now the situation is that the mayors and also the county mayors are trying to go ahead to get him to stand up and say, let's go ahead and make it a mandate for wearing a mask. And they will not do that.
No.
He will not do that. He will not back it. It does not make any sense. This is where the figures come up, and when they researched it and they found out what is happening. The reported incidents where one has the COVID is not in older people. It's in the younger people.
Absolutely.
From 17 to 40.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And a lot of them are asymptomatic or minimally symptomatic.
Yep.
And they're spreading it around. Yeah.
And every time they mention states that have the new strains, Florida is right in there.
I don't get it.
I went to the beach the other day, just driving through to see what was going on. And all of the clubs are open, every last one open. People are, you can't even turn around when you go in there.
I understand they're packed.
It's packed, no mask.
So here's my problem, Dan. and I'll let you go after this. Here,
Yes.
what bothers me is that the people that are, let's say, spring break. I come to spring break, I'm not practicing any safe practices at all, and then I'm going back home to my mother and father.
Mm-hmm.
Do they care so little? Or doesn't the caring stretch beyond a thought?
Yeah, it's just a thought. A thought. Their mind is, well, why let everybody else suffer for this small percentage?
Suffer what?
Thank you. Thank you. Like,
Not going out to drinking and suffering?
Like, that's suffering. Like, come on, y'all.
Come on, man.
The person laying in the hospital is suffering, okay?
Come on, man.
And like you said previously, it's so simple. Just put the mask on. It's a proven fact that the countries where they did wear the mask, they didn't have the numbers and they didn't have the incidents that we have here in Florida or the United States, just by simply wearing a mask. What's the big deal?
But we've got a bunch of people that have slipped from reason. I won't even say faith. From positive reason to, I'm just not going to wear one. You're not going to make me wear one.
Mm-hmm.
But this defiance has usually ended up these people in the hospital.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And then after the harm is done, I didn't believe it at first. So other people going to funerals is not enough for you to say this thing is real.
Yeah, because it ain't happening to you.
Exactly.
Dan, we gotta let you go, man. Tell my sister I said hello.
Be blessed.
Talk to you now. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.
Let's go to Paula, line 1. Good morning, Paula. How you doing?
Oh my God! Already that was fast. and Pastor Smith, this is Paula from Bear, Delaware, and I just wanted to know your thoughts in reference to Sherman Osborne attacking Cheryl Underwood on live TV, in reference to just basic questions, answer to her. In reference to racism.
Tell us what happened, Pastor Nate.
There are some things on social media that says Cheryl did a great job, and yes, she did. She contained her composure. I don't think I could have been so calm. And then there are other things on Facebook saying that Cheryl Underwood is Aunt Jemima with a scarf around her head. She's crying and stuff like that. What are your thoughts in reference to that, especially when Sharon's supposed to be Cheryl's friend?
Well, so what happened was, you know Pierce Morgan, right?
Yes.
He's saying that the whole Meghan Markle
I have my thoughts on that too.
Thing.
I got my thoughts.
It's not all about race.
Okay, I got my
He said
thoughts.
it's not about race.
Okay.
And black people why would they ask the color of the baby if it ain't about race?
Well, it is partially about it, but let's go on.
But Bishop, you gotta watch The Crown.
Yeah, I know. I know. It is.
It is. But anytime somebody
monarchs
says,
are racial.
Yeah, what color is that child gonna be?
Okay.
That's racial.
Yes.
And
I'm not saying it's not.
I know you are. I know.
Yeah.
And then, so Sharon Osbourne basically was protecting Pierce Morgan, who's her friend, saying he's not being racist.
Okay.
But he's only presenting a racial view of the relationship.
Okay.
So the black women on the talk were trying to say, no, Sharon, he's wrong. And she start crying and start kind of attacking the women of color. And they're like,
okay,
and they're calm. They stayed poised. They didn't go off on her.
Okay.
Which actually helped in the long run.
Okay.
So that's basically what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got a couple questions for you.
Sure.
And you can help me out, Paula, with this.
Okay.
Is this the first time
No.
that Meghan Markle has ever had to face the fact that she's black?
Of course not.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Because the stuff they're talking about, Paula, the stuff they're talking about is stuff that most black people deal with every day.
Every day.
I would say a little bit different in this sense. When she was living, let me put myself in her shoes.
Okay, you can't, but go ahead.
No, I mean in the sense of this.
Okay.
She's living in Britain, right?
She came from over here, right?
Yes, came from over here.
Her social circle, what did it look like?
But I'm saying.
I'm just saying.
I know, but what I'm saying is that the amount of scrutiny and her being isolated.
Now let me
when
qualify.
She's sitting in the house all by herself for months.
I get it. Let me qualify this now.
Sure.
I'm a civil rights baby.
Sure.
So I'm sensitive to this kind of thing happening to anybody.
Sure.
Were they naive enough to think because they got married they were going to change the institution?
That's the part. That's the
Okay.
part.
And if those months of isolation would drive a black person to suicide, we would all have considered killing ourselves because we had, whatever.
Yes.
I'm just saying, I got the impression that they thought they were going to change everything because they got married. And I got the impression that this is the first time she had to deal with the fact that she's a black woman.
Wow. And she's from America.
Absolutely. And if you look at her circle, she wasn't calling black folk in England to find out how it was. She married, and I'm pro-African. Everybody knows this. I shouldn't have to even qualify the statement. But I'm looking at her like, okay, tell me something that 1 million black women have not gone through.
That's right.
But on the scale that she went through it, in the sense of most of us experience common racism versus we're not in the tabloids, we're not on the news.
She married a prince.
I know, I got that.
That puts you in the newspapers.
It does. I got that.
She can't stand the heat, don't go in the kitchen.
And then the other part too is that, but the other part was, all right, Harry, you knew your folk was like this, but now you care. Now you care.
It cares now because it's personal.
Because it's personal.
Yeah, don't act like you didn't know.
You didn't know this before.
That's right.
Don't act like you didn't know.
Brave.
You knew, but now it matters to you.
Yeah.
Because now it's personal because you got a black child.
That's my problem.
There you go.
More so with him than her.
I got a problem with both of them.
So-
Because what I saw was two people who either she idealistically influenced him or they influenced each other, that they were going to get married and the whole institution was going to change. No.
So
centuries.
let's look at it like this. Just I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
So if they meet each other, they're in love, they have a great relationship. Is he supposed to say, "Hey, I love you, I want to be with you, but I can't be with you because my family,
No,
my nation"?
he's supposed to say, "This is the way it is in our family."
Right.
Because the woman follows the man.
And
You gotta deal with it.
here's how
Work it
we're going to have to figure out a way to deal with this.
Okay.
Because you can't tell. I have daughters.
Sure.
I will go to my grave believing she wanted that fairy tale wedding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. Oh,
Come on,
please.
come on, man. Don't tell me you didn't.
yeah.
It was for everybody else.
Absolutely. And you can tell by our eyes that
Look,
Come-
I'll tell you what I saw in her eyes.
Yeah.
I can't tell you on the air.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just trying to
Come on, man. Come on. You didn't
Well,
want the
yeah, all
wedding.
about
You didn't want to be a
Hollywood.
princess. You didn't want the crown. You didn't want any of that. But she didn't want what came along with it.
I didn't watch the interview, but I saw little clips and pictures. But the eyes of both of them said
I
a lot.
saw enough.
These said a lot.
I
said,
saw enough.
okay.
Because I'm like, okay, I thought she'd been through something my mother hadn't been
Yeah.
through. You can't talk to me about, we had Ku Klux Klan on our front lawn in Savannah, Georgia. So you can't talk to me about what it's like to be persecuted. Ain't nobody burnt no cross on her lawn.
Yeah.
They talk about it in the newspaper. She's a public figure. They do that. And she's in a country where there's a racial divide. And just because there's different color ethnicities around doesn't mean there's not racism. But did he think that because he was going to marry her, that she wasn't suddenly going to be black? Or wasn't he looking at her like she was black?
That's my biggest thing.
Something's wrong with this equation now. They just shocked. He grew up in the thing? No.
Nah. He knew what it was going to be like.
No.
Or at least he had to.
No. They trying to say, well, now he realized there was a problem. Come on, man.
So that's my problem. Up until this time, you didn't see a problem.
He did, but it was acceptable.
Was one of the comedians from Britain before the wedding said he said, I don't think she should do this for the same exact reasons.
Wow.
He said I'm from England and I wouldn't want to be in that family.
Wow.
And he's white and he said she should not do this because she's going to be in for a rude awakening.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I think their idealism. They thought, look, they had a black choir at the wedding. They had a black preacher at the wedding. I think they thought that was going to make, that was going to set off a revolution in the nation.
Yeah.
That thing has been around for thousands of years, man. Look, we're still having the voting rights in the United States of America. And England existed before America
They had a
did.
monarchy for over 1,000 years.
Come on, man. Come on. Thank you, Paula. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Who we got next? Tom on line 4. Good morning, Tom. Then we're going to Myra from Gibbsboro, New Jersey.
Good morning, Bishop, Pastor Nick.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, man.
You were saying something earlier about why are these governors doing it?
Yeah.
Total defiance and power.
But is it worth it for people to die just so Donald Trump can say you're a good guy?
Well, Donald Trump got the shot secretly, him and his wife.
I know they did.
So what message is that sending?
They don't care.
And Bishop, down here in Florida, I'm staying inside. It is pandemonium.
It's got to be crazy down there, man. Especially with this, they open up the city for spring break and all that. It's got to be crazy. I saw pictures. I couldn't believe it.
I was looking at the news this morning. The beaches are flooded. The other reason for that, not only are they open up, and I'm going to say because I know prices between here and Philly. You get on the plane, American Airlines, for $99 round trip.
And I fault the airlines for luring them down there, but I still fault them for making the decision to put their families in danger.
Same thing with the hotels. They're super. This is the time of year where if you didn't have the money, you couldn't get in. You can be broke and almost come down here right now and have a great time.
They got a $99 round trip fare.
Oh yeah, American Airlines.
So that means the airlines are packing them in, right?
Oh yeah.
Because they took out the middle row first, and then they put it back in there.
The middle row's back?
Yeah, they put the middle row back in, yeah.
Yeah.
So folk are flying shoulder to shoulder in the plane for 2 hours, breathing the same air. They just don't care. They just don't care. You hear me? It's about money, man.
And I'm telling you, when you look at the, if I drive by, as you say, drive by parking lots,
Yeah.
you can forget it. Maybe there's a line to get into the parking lot.
Wow.
Yeah, and kids, not only that, it gets crazy down here. Yeah, there was some fights going on last night. I mean, it's already started. It is like...
I've got some friends that live in Florida who I'm very concerned about. They've been doing everything they can to keep themselves safe. But it's a numbers game out there. Who gets exposed to who gets exposed to who, and who gets exposed to whom. And you going to work every day, you're as safe as you can be, but you can't control where your coworkers are going and who they're related to is going to hang out with. And then, like I said up here, you got, I witnessed that the exit from a party that was in a house, and they tell me there was 250 people on the grounds. I saw 100, and I'm sure the parents didn't know. Most of them didn't know that their kid was going to pay $200 to go to a party, and then come home with whatever.
Whatever, yep.
Because you're gonna have to lie. You can't say I'm going to a $200 drinking party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go expose yourself, then you go home like nothing happened, and then mom and grandma get sick, and you're like, I don't know how this happened. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. You brought it home.
I don't know. I'm praying for you guys in Florida, Tom.
We got our crazy governor, but
he's a nutcase.
What you have to understand is we're a tale of two states. If you come down to South Florida, they're trying to do the right thing, even though the governor is basically saying no. And the north part of the state supports him in every way he goes.
Here's my problem. A lot of seniors in Florida.
Yeah.
It's almost like he has no concern.
And you would think with the voting blocks, seniors would not be supporting him as much, but
I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
He's putting the people in danger. And do I get tired of wearing a mask? Yes. Well, why do I wear one? Not just for me, but for people around me. And now that the variants are out, you may not die, but do you want to get sick again?
Yeah. The only thing I can say good about our governor, maybe, I got my first shot a couple weeks ago. I did my second one Tuesday, and I was there for 45 minutes, in and out.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I talked to a friend of mine. Thank you, Tom. We'll talk to you soon, man. Talked to a friend of mine yesterday. You know him. Got sick in December. Spent 3.5 weeks in the hospital.
Okay.
Came out. Had to go back in January because his lungs filled up again with the same pneumonia. He was completely engulfed in pneumonia.
Okay.
It attacked his heart. You know, just I mean, really did a job on him.
Wow.
And you know, he said he we talked about it and we surmised he probably caught it at a funeral.
Okay.
And I said, I'm not trying to be cold, but you don't have to impress the deceased with your presence.
Okay.
You really don't have to impress the deceased.
No, not at all.
You know, so, you know, he said, I realize that now.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said some of his friends, now that he's, you know, getting better or trying to get better, asked him, was he going to some big college event? He asked him, well, you know, you guys must be smoking something.
Right. Ain't going nowhere.
Oh, man.
No.
This is unbelievable to me. Let's go to Myra from Gibbsboro. Hello, Myra. How are you?
Hello, Bishop. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining us on OnPointe. Turn your radio down so you won't echo.
Okay, I'm on the TV.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you hear that delayed conversation going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, turn your volume down.
Turn the volume down.
Yeah, turn the volume down.
Okay. My husband is doing it. Make sure you turn the volume down.
Yeah.
Okay. Bishop, good morning, Pastor Nick.
Good morning.
My point is, I would like to know your views on the vaccine.
Okay. We are going to become, as soon as possible, a vaccination center. Most of the staff has been vaccinated or in the process of being. They've had at least one. Some have had 2 already. So we're very much in support of it. We have access to not only government officials, but we have access to some of the best medical officials in the state, and have consulted with all of them. And so yes, our statement's going to be not just the fact that we've taken the vaccine, but our statement's going to be that we're going to become a vaccination center as soon as possible.
Okay.
And
so you suggest that I take it?
Yes, ma'am. And you all know I don't mislead you.
Yes. I was asking you that question because my husband has been diagnosed with COPD.
Okay. And he can't afford to catch COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're having a vaccine panel on the 25th at 7.
Okay.
We got a few doctors that are coming
Okay. On the 25th?
The 25th. And people forget, especially for black, I get black people have a issue with the medical community for a good reason.
Yeah.
But y'all got to remember, a black woman actually helped this vaccine become possible.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the reason why we have one for the most part.
Okay.
So, and the black doctor was talking about that. Like, we all took it. Before Tuskegee, there were no black people managing that process.
Right.
You got black people all up in this.
Yeah. But people just I think fear will cause you to get some reasonable skepticism.
Sure.
And I think a lot of African American people are still thinking about Tuskegee.
Yeah.
And there's a reason to think that.
Yeah.
I said, but as a church and as leaders in the community and in the state, we've gotten out ahead of this thing, and we're making a statement. Our biggest statement is going to be, you can come here and get vaccinated.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bishop.
Anytime. Thanks for calling us, Myra. Talk to you soon now.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Coming up on the end of another program, we want to remind you to join us tomorrow online at 8 a.m. We've got some post-service videos going on. We're live at 9:45 to 10:45, which is always a good time. Yeah. Then 11 o'clock, we'll be back again with morning worship, the encounter. And 6 o'clock in the evening is 10 times better.
Yeah.
10 times better.
That
scared me, man. And then they took it away. You want to subscribe to David G. Evans 1 and BBC of NJ on YouTube. If you can, Please follow me on Facebook at David G. Evans 1, and Pastor Nick, what's yours?
Nicholas A. Smith.
Nicholas A. Smith.
Yes.
He's more famous than me. He uses just his name. I have to put.
My name is so common. I gotta find.
I have to put numbers around mine to get mine. Mine's so common. I gotta add stuff to it. I gotta add stuff to it. So, but follow us on Facebook if you can. On Twitter also, if you're on a Twitter, at David G. Evans 1 and Nicholas A. Smith. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But follow us both and become friends of ours and followers. Our Facebook families are well informed.
Yep.
And very interactive. So, I want you to become a part of what we're doing. So tomorrow, join us 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock for service. 9:45 for discussions. Of course, we got videos running all day long for you, all morning long, 10 times better at 6. If you have not joined us for 10 times better, 6 o'clock, men, please. But ladies, you are making this thing a tremendous success. 70% of our viewers at 10 times better are females, and it's a series that's based on men. So I guess that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes sense. Ladies trying to find out how to raise their sons and better help their boyfriends and their husbands and their fathers. And it's really a great time of conversation. All right. Anything else, Pastor Nick?
No, that's all I can think of right now.
Got a regular week coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing
This
unusual.
topic we can talk about next week. So
Nothing unusual.
no,
Okay.
not that I can think of. Oh no. Oh, Tuesday at 8:30.
What happens?
You're
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Tuesday, 8:30 on StreamYard. How's that
We're
going
gonna do it through StreamYard. Yep.
Going to do it through StreamYard.
On all our sites. Yep.
On all of our sites. So you can go to all of our sites, BBC and David G. Evans, Facebook and all that kind of stuff. YouTube too.
Yep.
You can go to all of our sites at David G. Evans 1, and we're streaming a conference, if you will, a panel called Taking the Risk, Meet Your Father. Part of a project including about 13 men from around the country. Most of them did not know their dads. They had to meet their dad. Some of them have never met their fathers. And it's about what has to happen. So ladies, if you're raising your son by himself, you understand the need for this panel, this conference. If you were raised in a single parent home, never met your dad, you need this. If you had to meet your father later in life, that means you didn't know him, he wasn't in the home, you had to meet him later in life, this is for you. We need you to join us on Tuesday night at 8:30 on our websites at David G. Evans 1. We'll be streaming on StreamYard all over the world. I want you to be a part of what we're doing. We got Odell Dickerson going to be with us, model, pastor, and we've got a couple other people we think are going to make that. Dr. Alfonso Evans has written a tremendous book, put together 12 or 13 testimonies of young men from various lifestyles, various ways of living, various beliefs, various faiths, and it's a tremendous work. So join us Tuesday night at 8:30.
Yep. Cool.
We good?
Yep, we good.
Now remember, this has been On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Any smart device at David G. Evans 1. Stay strong, stay safe, and remember, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.